Let's see, microphone's going. Okay. So Alan, I appreciate you joining tonight. We just, that worked out for us.
Thank you very
It's,
much.
yeah, so the design principles that we talk about. So we start with that's the first part of the book. It's called Design Principles. There's the design process. And I think that's really the most important thing that you need to study. You can kind of glance over the other parts, but the design process is important because we talk about it in an art context in this class, but the design process actually works in almost anything where you're trying to create something. This design process will work. So then we've got Unity. So we've already talked about Unity. That's what we did last week. So we've talked about the design process. We've talked about the Unity, and then I should show you that too here in the class. If you come to the home page and you look on these weekly recordings, you can come back and look at the discussions that we've done so far. So we've done 3 discussions so far where there's recording for that. So we're back here to the.
And
So
just to let you know too, I'm just because I have to sit in the hotel lobby, I'm muting my microphone because people are kind of loud in here. So
okay,
I just didn't want you distracted with that noise. So
no, you're fine. That's good. So just, and then the second part of the book, we talk about design elements, and then that's line, shape, pattern, illusion of space, illusion of motion, and then value and color. So those are the things that we're talking about. And so this week we're going to talk about emphasis and focal point. So obviously I'll get that up on the screen. So we'll go through, it's usually a series of artworks that the author of this book came up with, and then we'll talk about what the artist has done to draw our attention to a certain space or something in the art. So on this one, what draws your attention here?
I would say, man, of course the orange, right? Because
Right.
it's it's different in color, but they also balanced it in a central point, but everything else is grayscale or dark scale or like a brownish tone. So you could tell that the orange was meaning to be its focal point, or at least it seems to be that way. That it was trying to have that be the emphasis.
Right. So you're pointing out these things like the contrast between the yellow and the dark. So the artist is doing this on purpose. And as you look around if you look around the painting, you'll notice that a lot of the lines, like the lines on the lined paper, the lines in the black photographs in the back, kind of the ribbons, they're all pointing into that central point. It's interesting to see how many lines, and even the orange has the lines pointing into the central point of the orange.
That
So
makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, and so you're observing, and so you already know about these things because you're looking, and people may not have asked you, but this is what the artists are doing, is they're making these, like you were talking about, the contrast between the bright yellow and these other dark colors. So as you're creating things, you can do the same thing. You can, what is going to be the focal point? And if you're writing a paper, it's the same thing. What do you want to stand out? What kind of color are you going to make in words and imagery to do the same thing? If you're creating a project, it's the same thing. Where do you want the focal point to be? So that's part of what we study here. So in here, so what does the artist want us to focus on? Do you think the artist wants us to focus on here?
Uh, the turtle, because all the eyes are looking down. Even someone's hand is trying to feed the turtle. All the feet are pointing towards it, but everyone's kind of looking down towards it.
Right. And just like you're saying, if we look at this and we see what the artist is trying to do, then we can do that same thing when we're doing art. Um, I'm gonna pause just for a second because I'm gonna pause the recording just for a minute. Go.
Okay.
So so no, it's great that you've picked that stuff out in here. And so that is, just remember these types of things, what the tools that these artists are using. You can use those same tools like you were talking about. If you're going to design a logo, you want to have some kind of focal point on that.
Exactly.
So, and last in the last chapter, they have a picture from this. And so it's, where does the artist want us to focus in this? And when I say artist, I mean the director of photography. What, because they're trying to tell a story just with this picture.
Yeah. And it's like, although I've seen the movie, right, with my wife and daughter, but it just, even if I wasn't seeing the movie, what I would think is that the way she's positioned, right, is she's positioned behind the door as if she's hearing or listening what is being said. So it's kind of like almost like they're trying to present like a split screen, like two different visuals happening at once, possibly. But it's kind of like with how emotional her face is, like it still draws you more towards the left rather
Right.
than the right.
Right. No, but
If that,
that's a good observation about the split screen because they're trying to give you two. They're trying to have you see into two different worlds just with this one picture.
yeah.
So yeah, that's good. So on to here's another one. It's interesting that there's no sound here, but he's bringing the sound into the, at least for me, I can hear that.
Yeah.
So somebody banging away on the keyboard.
Yeah, like a keyboard, it looks kind of like a typewriter, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a typewriter, but we all understand when he's with the tack 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 the
Yeah.
or talk, however you want to say that it's the sound of that keyboard.
So and
Go
then
ahead.
and then what I would ask you too is it because they did this black and white, and that's interesting. I never had seen that before, but it's that makes full sense, right? Because they really thought this scene through, it seems to be like from the angle that they did this, because his room is a mess, right? And of course, like news reporters and stuff, their stuff is all over the place, right? But like from the angle, you see the light from the window popping through, but it's only shining onto him, right?
Right.
And then
Yeah.
his shirt is white, and then the paper is white, but everything else is like a really dark, um to like
Right.
a mid-tone gray, right? So is that it? So they're doing that more than just like looking. This one more so done with the color to create the visual focal point?
Yeah. So the lack of color in here is creating that visual, like you're talking about, all that white. That's where the artist wants you to look. And if you look just like in the other ones, a lot of the stuff is just pointing towards him. So that's what the artist wants you to focus on.
Gotcha. That was really cool.
So here's this one. It's funny, 1763. I wonder how many zebras this artist saw. It's probably only one zebra, so at a zoo or something.
Yeah.
1763, that's a long time ago. So he's
Yeah.
like, this is crazy. I need to paint this. So obviously he wants that right in the middle. And then he's taking care to get the stripes.
And then it so it doesn't matter so much that because almost like because the zebra is black and white, right? But kind of off of like the hind end and then the head, it kind of the colors almost look like as if the tones of the tree or the tones of the ground underneath it. Um, is there a point because this you can obviously tell this like this is a really nice picture, but I'm just curious from your expertise, is there a point of going too far to where it just blends like it ends up blending in to where
Yeah,
you can't see the focal point, I guess?
yeah, because some of them you'll see later in the chapter that some art doesn't have a focal point.
Mm, okay,
Yeah, we'll see that. And so this artist, I mean, he's created this in such a way that he wants us to just focus on the zebra. You'll notice that like there's a lot of detail, like he's just done this dark on the right, and then it's kind of blurred in the background. He really wants us to focus on the zebra.
gotcha. This one's a bit tougher.
Well, the
To,
interesting thing with this is a phone app. This is like a screenshot of a phone app. But what does the well, so one of the questions is with this picture, where is this picture?
I think it's in New York.
Right. So I mean it does say New York up here.
Oh, it's just say up there.
Yeah,
I was
it
just
does say it up there, but they're having us focus on the Empire State Building
yeah,
because when we see that, we know that it's New York.
gotcha.
So
That
it's
makes
like
that makes
it's
perfect
like
sense.
for instance in Utah, if you want someone to know, like if you're doing a film and you want someone to know that you're in Utah, what do you film?
Probably Salt Lake City or
What in
something.
Salt Lake City is uniquely Salt Lake City?
Uh, to be honest, I guess like the Mormon temple.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's interesting when you're watching sports shows. I mean, like if you're watching the Jazz or you're watching, well, it's mostly the Jazz because I mean, they're our only really like professional national team, but we have RSL. But if you're watching that someplace, they're going to show that temple multiple times, so the audience knows where they are. And so, like, there is, like, for instance, let me see. I'm going to show you a picture. I want the image here. Okay, so I'm going to show you the pictures of this. Like, where is this? You're reading it now, but if you're watching a movie and they show this, that's only in Sydney, Australia.
and that's why I was wondering because I was like, I've seen this building before, but I didn't know
Yeah,
where it was.
yeah. So this is Sydney, Australia. So if you're doing a movie and you're supposed to be in Sydney, Australia, they show this opera house.
Gotcha.
Oh, another one that they show is so I'm gonna bring this one in. So if I show you this, do you know where that is? Every movie
Yeah,
that is in that's supposed to be there shows this.
looks like Ireland maybe.
Yeah, so it's the White Cliffs of Dover, and I don't know if it's in England or Ireland, but if they're shooting something, they show this and everyone knows, oh, you're in like you're in, the British Isles someplace.
Gotcha. Okay.
So this is why they're showing the Empire State Building here. And so this is just another tool that artists use because we can communicate a lot of information about location just by showing pictures of things like this. So here's one that kind of goes to what your question before is kind of what is the focal point here?
It makes me feel like it's a color now.
Well, you're right. The
This
color is because it's so much different than the rest. Yeah. So I mean, that's what the artist is doing here is because he's just making everything else black and white. So we'll focus
okay.
on this.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so, and then this is just another. So here's another one.
Uh, that's crazy how they made it look like a nose.
Yeah.
That's a cool picture.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, I love New York. So, but they're
Yeah.
using that same thing like we talked about before. They're using the Empire State Building because that's in New York.
Yeah.
So, all right, I should say this is an interesting. This is similar to the comic.
So that is it. So it's obviously it's a group of guys. They're doing an operation. Um, I think what throws me off though is that everyone's eyes are looking at the operation, but the focal point is the doctor, though, right? Or no?
Yeah. So what is the doctor doing here, though?
Uh, he's just kind of lounging back, and I don't know if he's the one who is like being the spokesman over what they're doing.
Yeah. So this is called the clinic.
Okay.
So like you're it's interesting because you identified who the doctor is, and the doctor's not even doing the operation. And
Yeah,
then you've got all of these other, and I'm going to say students that are watching whatever the
that's a cool picture to get you.
yeah. But just like you notice, the focal point is on the doctor because he's the brightest subject in the painting.
Yes. Okay.
So this one shows up in a couple of chapters. And so we discuss different things.
Uh, so top part here is it's kind of like it's on the guy who's being pulled away, like or carried away. But it's just like is what I'm seeing the focal point on.
Right. Oh, right, for sure. And
But
so you
then
can like
I'll go ahead.
well, I'm just asking you. So what are some of the things that you're noticing that is directing our attention there?
Uh, well, all the guys were looking at him, and then even the other guys walking away, the way that they're carrying somebody is as if this guy in the white just got into a duel with someone else.
Right.
Uh, so it's kind of like their immediate attention, like how they're holding him, they're trying to like see if he's still alive almost, or
Right.
trying to keep him alive. I think.
Right. But it's interesting that the artist like look at the break in the cloak, the guy who's wearing the red cloak. Even that
Uh,
little triangle there is pointing towards
uh,
where they wanted us to have the focal point.
wow, that's crazy. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
and the way the guy's leg in the background, it's the same thing. Just the guy that's holding him up, his leg is positioned to point to, and all of, there's so many lines in that painting that point towards where the artist wants us. Even the sword, even though it's
Yeah.
pointing the other direction, it's still kind of on. If your eye catches that, it's gonna just kind of force you over there.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the handle's like directly pointed at his head.
Yeah. And so the other thing to notice in here is the artist has taken away detail from stuff that he doesn't want us to. He wants to tell us the story because he is telling us a story here, but he wants us to look at this poor fellow that's been stabbed in this duel. And so he takes away the detail of almost everything else. So, but it's so detailed. The most detailed is on the victim. I
Yeah.
mean, there you see the wrinkle in his clothes.
Yeah. His clothes are the shadows in between that white and stuff like that too. And it's
Right.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So, I mean, so this is it. Like, so the artist is teaching us several things on how to do focal point. One is the color. He's pointing everything towards that, and then he's just made the most detail. So the most really interesting thing to look at is the victim, and it's obvious where the artist wants us to focus.
Okay.
So, I mean, these are all things that we just learn as we look at these. So here's one that kind of goes to more towards what you were talking about. It's obviously this girl is a focal point of this, but this artist is kind of distorted or this, and so the focal point is not as pronounced in this as say the last one.
Gotcha.
But the fact that the subject is looking directly at us is probably, I mean, I'm guessing is going to be the focal point here. Because
Yeah.
eventually that's where we start to focus is like this. And once again, the most detail is in her eyes.
Right.
I should say
Yeah.
her or him. It could be either.
Yeah. Because the eyes have nothing wrong with them. Like
Yeah.
everything else is all, granulated or pixelated, and then her eyes
Right.
are just crystal clear.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is a good example because the artist is saying, look, if especially this is there's more power there if someone's looking at you than looking somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then here it's just kind of the contrast. Yeah, 1526. I'm like, we've either got Jesus or Adam and Eve in art from the Middle Ages. Funny. So here's another one where the focal point is a little bit more subtle, but still there because of what the artist is doing.
Yeah. Uh, I was. Oh, I would say the focal point is the girl because even the mirror is like the mirror up above her is casting the like kind of where she's looking at, and then the other guy is looking at her. Um, and then
Right.
it kind of closed it off with the table and then the chair and everything like that to make that lower right hand portion just be to where it's like it's not going to take your eye away, but the left hand side is almost like it's the diamonds on the floor starting to lead your eyes up that way towards her,
Right.
and then even the light from the window on her left hand side kind of shines a little bit brighter on there.
Right. Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, you've picked out all the stuff that the artist has done. And once again, we learned from this, you can use these types of things in your art to show focal point. And the assignment for this is taking pictures. And so we can use that same type of thing in photography. And then this one. What is this one called? So this one, I mean, we're just doing contrast again here to get us to focus on. But there's several things that we can focus on here. There's obviously an individual, and we've got the birds, which we're assuming are doves. And so this is, I'm saying it's probably some kind of message about peace. It's interesting here in this one. So looking at this, explain to me kind of what do you notice first, and then where do you eventually, your eyes eventually settle?
So my eyes at first feel like it looks to the envelope, what it might be to be an envelope or something like that in the back because it's
Right.
bright yellow, and then it settles down to the bowl. I can't quite tell what is inside of the bowl. Like,
I'm guessing it's some kind of art stuff, but this is just a little bit more abstract, but like pencils or pens or something like that. Maybe brushes.
got you. Was that accurate though? That's same thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I mean, there's really no accuracy here. It's just about what your impression, and this is where what the artist is trying to do. So the
Got you.
artist is trying to get our attention and then draws us into the bowl. So we can all do things like that in our design to get people eventually to the place where we want them to be, but we can add other elements to, just to have variety. So
Oh wow.
so I like this one.
Well, it definitely, the bright lights, draw your attention to them, and then everybody else is, I like that they're, different shades of blue. But then it tries to draw you to the lady in the orange dress, and then the man's sitting down there as well, talking to the other gentleman.
Yeah. So what is this what is the story that you get out of this?
I feel like they're, you know, it's like a night out, some at a bar or
Right.
like some, something like that. Is the way that they're dressed too. It could be some sort of during this time, like some jazz concert or
Right.
something like that.
It definitely has kind of a jazz vibe going on.
Yeah,
So my question is, do you think they're a couple?
I would think yes, I would think so. I would think that maybe they're double dating or something.
So it's interesting that the artists we're making, at least for me, I make the assumption that they're together because he's colored those two people a particular way.
Yeah,
So
and I was just thinking they were double dating because the outer two people are colored, with a little bit darker.
right,
So maybe they were friends or something and went out together and just like guys gathered together and talk, and then the ladies,
right. So once again, just tools that we can use. It's an interesting.
it was
It's
tough, but I feel like it still makes you focus on the guy more than the girl.
yeah, that's a good observation because he is if with the rule of thirds, he's in a more predominant spot in the picture. But I think whoever took the photograph did a good job of setting that up,
Yeah.
because I don't think that happened on accident. Because
Yeah.
I think if they were on a date or if they were a couple or something, they'd be sitting on the couch together. I don't know. So, but it's quite a
And the,
contrast between the green and the outside and the wood on the inside.
yeah, definitely. And then that stove that hangs down too is like it was catching my eye.
Yeah, that's true too. And one of the things that catches our eye about that is it doesn't really have a base. It's hanging there, and that's not something that at least I don't see that very often.
Yeah,
Or I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
I don't think I have either.
So this painting right here is in every chapter. So, and one of the things I think the author of the book is trying to show us that we can get these design principles and design elements, and we can talk about every design principle and every design element with this particular thing. And so, what is the focal point in here?
I feel like it. I honestly don't know because it draws you more to the left because of the type of glass.
Right. But just right here, like you were talking about before, this is where the artist doesn't necessarily have to have a focal point.
Got you. Okay.
It's, and so in this, there's just like an absence of a focal point. It's just a cool picture,
Yeah.
And so it's the overall picture is there. He's just saying, and as an artist, he may be saying, look at how good of an artist I am because I'm drawing regular windows on one side, and then I'm drawing these acrylic blocks on the other side that the stuff that's coming through. And I'm assuming that the artist found this someplace because he thought this would be something really cool to paint. Because
Yeah.
it's quite a challenge to get the feeling of that acrylic block with its because those acrylic blocks obviously are not flat on both sides.
Maybe he's making a statement too or something and trying to be symbolic, like like on the left is like a warped sense of reality, and on the right is like a clearer picture of just being able to see the world around you.
Right. No, that's
Yeah.
a great observation that I had not thought about that before, but I think that's a good insight into that. This is also one that's in almost in every chapter. And I can see why they say there's an absence of a focal point here,
Yeah.
because it's called geography. So maybe it could be a map, but not a very good map. You know what I'm saying? It's not because it's not telling us where to go or what to do. We're just looking at this. And so here, I think it's just the variety that,
Yeah. I personally, yeah, um, would not be able to distinguish that either, but I like the contrast, right, between the two colors and then how the white pops out. So it makes it,
right.
you
And
know,
and I think there's enough work into this painting and there's enough balance and unity in this that I think we all would like to have it framed in our house. So, we could probably find some place for it in our house.
yeah.
So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, this is
That's crazy because that looks like a fingerprint, right?
right.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's really
no,
trippy.
yeah. So, I mean, this tells a kind of cool story. I mean, at least to me, they're trying to say, what are we doing for the natural environment? You know, what impression are we making on the natural environment? So whoever the designer who came up with this, just brilliant, such a good,
Yeah, because to match, yeah, to be able to match all the lines into the zebra congruently, like that was like a really creative thought.
yeah. Yeah, I think just whoever the design, yeah, that's now we're into scale proportion. So that's it for the chapter. Back to the emphasis and focal point here. So that's it for tonight. We'll end the recording. I appreciate you jumping on. You didn't even know that you were fulfilling a need. So
Yeah,
that's awesome.
thank you so much.
So yeah. And so keep me abreast on what's happening with your situation, and we will and I'll be flexible with you.
Okay,
So
and then is this still recording, not recording?
uh